Hello, everybody. Okay, let's get started. Now, I won't be doing a lot of introduction in here. I'll be rather doing some live coding. So first, I would like to know. So I will be here with Nilanjan. He'll be helping me explaining what I'm going to write.
And we kind of decided that in last 10 minutes. So just
I just came in here and like, Nilanjan, can you help me in here? Because actually before I did a talk about Iteratees and so on, and I was watching some videos, and then I saw Nilanjan also presenting it, and I really liked the way he presented, and I thought like he can help me in this talk explaining what I'm going to write. Because I'm a very terrible, I'm not a very good live coding kind of writer. I type very slowly, and I can't type and talk. You know, I have a lot of problems with that. But hey, this is a challenge, right?
And I'll talk very slowly, so we kind of synchronize.
Okay. So who does play here? Okay, maybe 70%, 80%, something like that. Okay, that's very good. That's very good. So you guys are going to help me as well. And if by the end of this talk I'm not done with the app, promise me that you will not leave me alone in here. I want to finish this thing. Okay. Okay, we're all set. So basically, the whole thing is that we did play. So I'm Sadek Drubi. We with Guillaume we created the play. What is Play today, and I work at Zenexity as CTO. And can you introduce yourself, Nilanjan?
Sure. So I work for TypeSafe. I do consulting, training, and all that stuff. And 50% of the time actually to contribute to the Play framework. So a little bit about Play framework. So basically, what I decided, like what we decided that we need a new framework that takes into consideration all the web programming problems. So web programming problems, basically you have a lot of data types, and you need to be transforming data, you need to be streaming it. There are a lot of problems you need to solve in the web framework. And the web framework that will be taking care of these problems will make the web developer life much easier. And that's what I want to demo in this code, right? I did a lot of talks about explaining concepts and so on. I thought like it's a good idea to do just a sample app from scratch, and we together try to get to some result. And I wanted like some sample app that is really representative of real world problems and troubles. So what I thought, like, okay, let's. So the idea of the app is like, let's take the Twitter stream, the tweets that we have on Twitter, and search for some query, let's say Scala days, and show these images on the browser as they happen. Basically, a very simple idea, and let's see how this simple app turns to be having a lot of problems around it because of these web programming constraints and so on. Okay, you ready? Okay. Yeah, that's very hard to be the last talk, so I'm going to start. So basically, all what we need to do is to make a new Play app. It seems so. I will make Play new, and I will call it Scala Days. Okay. Basically, for those who never use Play, you download the zip and you extract it, and then you can do Play new. That's all what you have to do. The first question. Okay, that's not good. Okay, let's call it 2013. There we go. So it's asking me about the application name. It's asking me like what kind of template by default. Right.
So basically, there is nothing, no decision you are taking here. Just generating some files so that it can help you bootstrap, get set up with your code. I'm going to choose the Scala simple Scala application, and there we go. I'm going to go in that directory. So,
excuse me.
Yep.
Can you put the terminal up some more?
Can I? Okay.
Just minimize the size of it.
Whoa, that was the wrong guy. I'm already slow. I didn't need that. Okay, that's better? Okay. Okay, thank you for them. I didn't notice. So, okay, now let's go to Scala Days 2013, and let's run that app, basically. Go there, play, and run. Okay, so I'm going to browse what I got in that app. I'm going to open it. It's in Workspace. Should be Scala Days 2013. And app, controller. There we go. Okay. So nothing fancy in here. Just a standard action that is returning some template with some code. We can go ahead and run it, see what it gets. So now it's compiling. Yeah, I should say that as well. I'm running on a MacBook Air, so if it's a bit slow, bear with me. So there we go. Nothing too fancy there. So I thought, like, okay, like, how can we start with that? Well, the first thing is, like, let's have a look at what Twitter gives us when we query its service. So basically, if we get, here's this bigger. You see the query? It's basically looking in Twitter and giving it a query, Scala Days 2013. Let's remove the 2013 thing. Scala, okay, sorry.
Scala Days.
And asks for, yeah, it includes entities. Basically, that's all. Okay, let's see the result. And it gets a huge JSON. Right? Now, if I go copy this JSON and I want to go look at it in the browser, here, I've already cheated, actually. So I have it somewhere here. Okay. So it's J, I guess. Yes. Real world. Real world is like the JSON is not what you expect. It's not the nice little tweet with its ID and text and the image in the same level. That's it. You got everything. You put a case class and everything is done for you. That's not the case. Actually, it's much more complicated than that. Of course, you got a lot of crap that you don't want to care about. And then you got results. And you say, hey, I got everything I need. It's results. Everything I need is results because these are the tweets. And then I open one of the results, and it has a lot of stuff. Okay, so what's interesting in here for me is the ID, is the text, and I need images. But I'm not finding images. They are inside entities. But they're not there. There are some objects, though, that will have it.
So who designed this JSON? It's a real-world JSON. That's why it looks like this, right?
So in some of the entities, we'll have media, and media will have also a sequence inside it, and inside it there will be, you can have different URLs, several URLs, and we will be having this media URL. That's the one you will be using. Okay? I don't like this JSON, so I'm trying. I would like to do some wishful thinking. Let's say. Okay, my wishful thinking. I would like to say, like, a tweet should be looking like an ID. Text and an image. How nice is that? Of course, it's a case class. So simple. Now, all what we got to do is to extract these values from that JSON. Very easy. So I'm doing an object tweet. So what I will do is I will do this transformer. We got a JSON library in play that will help us do this kind of thing. Nilanjan, can you explain a bit the library?
So in 2.1 we actually rewrote the JSON library. So I don't know how many of you have actually looked at the 2.1 JSON library, and how many of you think it's pretty awesome, right? So the combinators that the way the SAT is going to implement this is that we're going to use the functional combination of the JSON library, how you can take that ugly JSON, which is real world-like, because I'm pretty sure you guys deal with that kind of JSON in your applications. We're going to see how we can take that complex JSON and easily parse using small combinators.
So basically, all I want to do is to make a JSON reader of tweet, which means something that will read a JSON and give me a tweet. That's exactly the type that we are expecting. That's wishful thinking. I would like to get that thing eventually. Now, how can we get that? Well, basically, let's have a look at our JSON. Well, first thing, I need to get into results. Let's do that. So we get into.
So given that JSON, we got looking for that result attribute.
And inside that, I would like to read the following. Okay, what am I going to read? So inside we have an array of stuff. Okay, let's say that I want a sequence of stuff. Of what? Let's see. A sequence of, well, first I would like to get the ID, right? This guy.
Right.
How would we do that? Same way.
Reading the ID element, right?
Is it this way? Okay. And we say read string.
Right. And we're going to read the text now.
So the text.
So the and is the combinator there. It's actually taking two elements. You're going to combine them together, create a tuple for us.
So far so good. We got the ID, we got the text. Now the hard part. So basically all of these, like when I say read string, it's waiting for to have something that can read a string out of the JSON. And since we implemented by default, we have it there. But if I say like read something that the library doesn't know how to read, it will complain about that, and I will have to implement that as an implicit so that it can find in the scope.
Yeah, we're going to get there. We'll have an example for that, right?
Okay. So now getting to the hard part. Now how can I find... There are several problems with this entity stuff. Now, what are the problems? First, I need to read inside entity. Okay, so I will say, okay, I'm reading inside entities. Now what?
Entities is an object, right?
So entities is an object, and sometimes it has media, sometimes it doesn't, right? If these guys don't have media, this guy will have media, and media will have a list of things. So I'm going to say, okay, then I want to have media, but I'm not sure that always I will find it. So read nullable, right? So read nullable is basically saying, if it's there, if the attribute is there, then I get a sum. If it's not there, I'm getting a none, okay? Now what? Now I'm having a sequence of stuff, okay? Of what? Well, I will be reading the URL, which is, I suppose it's media URL. I'm hoping at least.
Yeah, this is one way it's pretty amazing, because while we are doing this, we are kind of creating the specification for the JSON response there, right? It almost looks like a spec.
Exactly. So basically, if you want like to see how the Twitter, what I'm using from the Twitter JSON, this is exactly what I'm using. It's kind of the specification of that stuff. The problem here is that it's a bit ugly, actually. Let's see why. So let's say we are satisfied with here. I'm going to close all what I opened as parentheses, and let's see what will Scala compiler tells us about this. If it's fine, I'm fine. I already closed that. So there we go. Nah. Yeah. Where I have. So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to copy all these imports. This way is much easier.
Wait a minute. You don't know these imports by your hand?
Yeah. For those that use IDEs, maybe they don't have to do this copying. So. Yeah, and the last thing in my thing, so I got three stuff here, and see, right? The first, and the second, and the third, and all what I'm going to do here is I want them tupled, right? I want these three things tupled. Now, if I go ahead and refresh here, now it tells me something interesting in here.
It tells me, it says that it got a sequence of tuple.
So it tells me like I have a sequence of a string, an option of sequence of string, right. And what I need is my wishful thinking.
It's a tweet object, right?
It's a tweet object. Now we are almost there, right? We're almost there, because what we got here is the ID, the text, but then the URL thing is a bit ugly. It's not exactly what we want, right? So let's try to work it out. So how can we do that? Well, this is the option that we got. We know, like, we are Scala programmers, functional programming, that's very easy. Let's map the read. So we get what's inside the read. We get maybe URLs. You remember? Maybe we have URLs, maybe we don't. Okay. Now we need to get these maybe URLs and also map it. Map it because it's a maybe URL.
Yep.
Actually flat map it for that case, and you will see why in a minute. And get URLs, and I'm going to get the first element.
Yep.
So basically, what I did here is I say, if you have several URLs, I don't care. Give me the first one. Okay? Now, if you have none, then give me none, right? And since already I have read nullable and a none, well, if I flatten it, I get one none. And now I improved my type. Let's see what the type that we got right now. Almost there, right? That's nice. We get a sequence of string, string, option of string. We're almost there. Now, all what I have to do, so that now the question, I need to decide about this. What if I have no media? What if I have no URLs? So I have media and no URLs. There are several cases that we are handling here. Well, it's very easy. What I would like to say here is that if I got one of these cases, so I do a map here, right? And I get tweets. And then I want to collect only those that I'm interested in.
Right.
Which means if it is an ID
and the text
and the text and a URL,
yep,
an image that exists, then I'm going to have it and do my tweet of ID, text, and URL. And let's see what we got here. Yes, I need to close this. Sorry?
Image.
Yeah. Thank you. That's the proof that what I told you is right. I have very bizarre memory sometimes. What we got here?
We got sequencer to it.
Oh, right. That's a read of sequence of. No, my wishful thinking was wrong. Okay. Now let's see. Are you happy? Cool. It type checks. So. Well.
So it works, right?
Well, actually, there's a mistake here. Well, we're going to test it anyway. There's no problem there. But already, you know, I got some kind of the structure of the JSON I found in the tweet that I wanted to take, and of course we need to test it. But it looks more or less like the JSON that I got there. If we look there, we find this guy. It's kind of this, right? We got the ID string. I hope I didn't do any mistakes, but I'm thinking it's fine. So that's the JSON. Like we get the JSON into a tweet, into this simple tweet. Now we want to actually do that request, right? We didn't do this request yet.
Right. Where does the underscore symbol come?
It's imported. It's imported in the JSON library.
It's part of the library.
It's a part of the library, just a variable. You can use either underscore, or if you don't like it, then you can use JS path. It's the same thing.
It just represents the...
It's represent a path. It's a path builder. It's a path builder, because here actually we are building paths. Okay? So here I can go ahead and say JS path, the same thing. Okay? Just it looks nicer because you can see more of the structure when you have the underscore. You can kind of visualize the structure. You have less words. So okay, now we need to do the. Actually, I don't see a lot of the scope, so I'm trying. Okay, so okay, now that we're there, let's make a method. Okay, that is going to get the tweets because we need first to make that request.
So we're doing paging for each tweet, right?
Right. So I'm passing an int, and here, again, wishful thinking, we want to get a sequence of tweets. Actually, since we are doing a web call, it will be a future because it's reactive. Web calls are reactive in play. So, how can you do that? Well, very simple. We use the WS library. We're going to
which is a built-in web service client, actually, part of Play.
It allows you to do basic web calls like get, post, and so on with headers and so on, and yeah, this kind of
stuff. It's completely asynchronous.
So I'm copying this URL, okay, and I'm going to replace the query with the query. Sorry?
What?
Yeah, thank you. Someone is following. And I should add and page equals $page. Okay, so that's the URL I got. Now I want to do a get on it. Okay, and that will give me a future of response. And okay, let's let the type checker guide us into that. So we go here. Let's ask it. Tells me like you told me that you're getting a future of sequence of tweets. I got the future of response. Okay, that's why I'm going to map it. Okay, get the response and asking it for the JSON.
Right.
Now I got the JS, right? And now as sequence of tweet.
This time it's going to use the reader to transform that to object.
So I'm going to use this reader. Problem is I just put this method in the wrong place. So I'm going to copy it. Okay, goodbye. And we get it here. Is it the right place here? Yes. Okay. So there are two ways of doing it. Either you mark it here as implicit, and then the library will be looking for implicit parameters so that it can find that serializer, or otherwise you could pass it explicitly. Both ways work. Compiles. Now we need to see if it works.
Well, it compiled. It's definitely going to work, right?
So I'm adding an action that takes a query as a parameter. And it's returning, it's an action. Okay, and all what I will do here is basically call tweet dot fetch page and passing it the query, and let's say page 1.
Right.
And I want, as the example there, I want to return an OK. Would that work?
Yeah.
Why is that?
We're not using async.
Exactly, because now this method returns a future. The future won't work because Play doesn't take it this way. We should be using async. When you have a future, Play accepts futures, and it will do all the the callback so that it writes the socket whenever the future is there. So that's why you would use the async, and then you will call this method and map. You get the tweets, and you make OK of tweets. Looks nice.
Cool. Yep.
Doesn't work. Why is that? Because actually, Play tells me simply here in this error message is that I don't know how to write a tweet to a socket. I mean, you give me a tweet. How do I write it to a socket? How do you want me to write? Should I write it as a string, as a JSON, as what? So I need to guide Play to tell him, like, this is the way you would write a tweet into a socket. And the way we do that, we need to write. So what we just did before is write something that reads a JSON. Now we want to write a JSON out of a case class. Okay. So I'm going to implement that.
So are you going to use the new format thing for this?
Exactly. So to JSON, yeah.
So implicit val.
And it will be, I don't really remember. It's a write of tweet.
So what this thing is actually doing is in 2.10, it actually uses macro to generate the writer for you at the compilation time.
So it basically analyzes the case class?
Yes.
And generates a JSON that looks exactly like your case class. Now you would ask me here, why didn't you use it for reading? Because we got one for reading. Why didn't you use it for reading? Mm-hmm. Because there are two different cases. Sometimes your case class represents your contract to some service, and you're okay generating from that. This is the contract. This is my domain. I know it. They represent my contract with the outside world. Whereas when you're reading from Twitter, it has so many stuff in a structure that's so dynamic that I need to take care of special cases, and as we saw, eliminate some cases, handle other cases in different ways, and so on and so on. So you can do it. Again, there's no magic, right? The macro stuff will be doing exactly what we did.
Right.
Except that it does the straightforward thing so that you don't have to type it. Yeah, often when I do this kind of stuff, I should show that there's nothing in my sleeves and so on and so on. So people, there's no magic in there, no reflection, just pure code, pure functional code. We are writing just pure functional code. So, but that gets me a rights of tweet. I want a rights of a sequence of tweets. That's why I would wrap it into a sequence, and I guess almost there. What is the problem? Yeah. So I have here to say like JSON dot to JSON of this guy. Seems to compile. Okay, now we need to run it. To run it, I'm going to create a route that will guide to this action.
Everybody aware of the routes file in Play Framework? Anybody who doesn't know? Okay.
There we go. So it will be. No, that's wrong. Wow, that's my memory. I didn't know what I was doing. So
we'll take query. Yep. Sorry.
What are you doing here?
That's all right. Relax.
Okay, then we got the route.
Yep.
Let's see if it works. Almost. So now.
Expecting that actually.
Yeah, you're right. I guess. And there's this, and there's another problem. I don't remember exactly why. Let's see there. Wow, thank you.
Good call.
Because actually we are filtering everything that doesn't have an image.
Right.
For my luck today, the first page didn't have any images. So. But that's real world, right? We need to deal with real world, and we'll see how in a minute. But that's quite an achievement, right? We parsed the JSON, we got it there, we ignored stuff. That's really real world kind of tasks to do every time you consume a web service. I'm quite impressed actually with myself that I can code it. Okay, so. We got now all these tweets. They are nice. They are nicer tweets with only the ID, the text, and the image as a kind of the type we want. But there's no stream in here. We want it as a stream, right? That's what we said. That's what we promised.
I want to see the images up there. I don't want to see JSON.
Yeah, JSON. What JSON? No, JSON is better. Okay. So what do we need, actually? Wishful thinking again. Wishful thinking to rescue. We need a method that will be taking a string as a query and will be returning
enumerator. Wow, that's a new word, right?
Who knows what the Iteratee library in here?
That's
cool.
That's awesome.
So basically, the contract here is saying that I need this method will take a query, a string as a query, and will be returning an enumerator, which represents a stream.
Right. It's an enumerator is like an abstraction of a producer. Think of it. I'm returning a producer which can produce tweets.
So the chunks of this stream are tweets. Okay, this enumerator will be producing chunks of tweets.
Yeah.
Okay, how can we do that? How could you do that? You have a method that gets you a page of tweets. Okay, now to make a stream out of it, what you need to do is to get the first page, then the second page, then the third page, and so on and so on, and that will make you a stream of tweets, right?
Right.
Okay, let's try that. So we need to generate, right?
Yep.
So to generate, we will use the unfold method. So probably you know what this fold is, right?
Right.
Folding is like you have a lot of stuff, and you want to get one element out of them. Unfold is the opposite. You have one state, and out of this state you need to generate a lot of stuff. Okay? So I'm going to start with 1, and then
so here, unfold will generate the page number for us. First time it's going to be 1, second time 2, 3, like that.
Sorry, page. And then I will have here a map, and I will get tweets. And I will wrap it into an option of page.
So what we're doing here, for each page, we're going to fetch the page using the web service client. Then we're going to get the tweets, and we're going to wrap that in option.
So basically, it's the contract of the unfold method. It will tell you, like, if you want more, you want me to generate more chunks, return some. If you want me to stop, return none. Okay, that's its contract. And I'm saying basically just continue forever. Basically, that's what I'm saying, right? That's why I have to wrap the next state here. This is the next state, and this is the result. And each time it will go back, it will get the next state, and it will repass it, and so on to generate the stream. Okay? Let's see if the contract is right. Where is what?
Okay.
Let's see why we're getting this. Val tweets is this guy, and we're returning tweets. Basically, it tells me that what you got there is a sequence of tweets. And what you told me, the contract you described is an enumerator of tweets, and that doesn't fit. And that's kind of logical, right?
Right.
Kind of logical, because each page is giving me a sequence of tweets,
right?
And which means my enumerator is having, each chunk will have a sequence of tweets. But that's not so nice. I would like to insist on my contract for this time. How can I do that?
Well, we can create a transformer. We need another tool in our toolbox, which can take enumerator of sequence of tweet and convert that to enumerator of tweet.
Exactly. So that's a transformer from a sequence of tweets to an enumerator of what? What was I? Why did I write that at all? Okay.
Tweet, sequence of tweet. You have one extra S there.
I know. Okay. Now how can we do that? So we look at our tooling. So the Iterate library is a library that does all the streaming stuff for you. You know, you got a producer, you got a consumer, and you got an adapter. And you got all the helpers that help you create adapters, producers, and consumers. Right. Exactly like the list library. Each time you need something, you will look in the list library and you look in these combinators and you say like, how can I do the task I have to do? So here.
So enumerator is very powerful. I mean, I know it has a funny sounding name there, but it's very powerful because now you can think of it, you are getting a stream of bytes from somewhere, and you essentially need to serve stream of JSON or tweets. This is the abstraction that's going to help you to do that. On the fly, it's going to transform your byte stream as it's happening.
So basically here, what we got here is, I looked at the combinators I got, and there's a method called map concat. Actually, basically, map concat will do the mapping, but also will concat, which means if you got the sequence of something, it will just flatten it out and just make a chunk of each element in that list. So basically, all what I have to do here is say like map concat and just keep it as it is, which means like it has a sequence of tweets, it sees it's a sequence, and it will flatten it, and it will get us the enumerator of tweets. So let's see if, yeah. And then all what I have to do here is...
we need to compose.
So I need to... Oh, no. That's not funny.
So here we are composing the enumeratee with the enumerator there. The alias of that ampersand greater than is called through. I'm passing enumerator through an adapter to transform that.
So we got an enumerator of sequence of tweet, we pass it through this adapter, and we get out of it, we get an enumerator of tweets. Does it type? Yes. Now let's use it. So the way we would use it is we have a play will take an enumerator as you know, in any status you can say okay.feed. You got this method that will take an enumerator, which means we'll take a stream and we'll just go and stream it to the socket. Now it will do nothing with it. Anytime it will get a chunk, it will write it to the socket. That's all what it does. Okay, so I'm going to give it.
All right.
And let's try that. Almost. Now the same problem. It tells me like I don't know how to write a tweet to a socket, because here I got actually a way to write a sequence of tweets. Now I don't need this anymore because my type is a tweet directly. So right. I will remove this guy and I will see what happens. Oh, I thought it will work. So now my problem is that my stream that I got is a stream of tweets. I want to transform it into a stream of JSON. So each chunk, instead of being a tweet, I want it to be a JSON. Okay, let's do that adapter. We like adapters now. So let's say like to JSON. How would we do that? Sorry?
What?
Your names are colliding to JSON.
I like that word.
Naming is hard.
So I get a tweet, and I'm going to say
JSON.toJSON.
Thank you. JSON.toJSON, right? Of that tweet. All right. Now we got.
Well, I would have preferred underscore there, but that's all right.
That's the styling process. Okay. So now all what we need to do is to adapt that to JSON.
Don't you need tweet to JSON in the map?
Sorry?
Don't you need tweet to JSON? You're not using tweet to JSON.
So basically, when I say to JSON here, it takes another parameter here implicitly that is that transformer. Since I declared it implicit, it can take it implicitly. I could just pass it around as well. Thank you for the question. Oh, I thought it would work. Missing parameter type. Why is
you
that?
have to explicit type the map.
Right. Okay, so we got here a tweet, right? And it will be producing a JSON. Whoa! I got my stream. Cool. Almost. The only problem with that is that it's getting like, even if I cut these chunks into like each page into chunks, it's still throwing them at the same time, right? It's like I get 10 and like 10 of them, and then the browser, it's not nice. I need to see them one by one. It's much nicer. Let's try to do that. How can we do that?
There is a question, yes.
What is the OK.feed? What exactly does the feed do on OK?
It will take that stream. Each time an enumerator has a chunk, it will go and write it to the socket. That's all what it does.
Is it doing that as an HTTP?
It's chunked.
So yeah, it's kind of HTTP. It sends the headers, and just the body will be chunked as a chunk they happen.
It corresponds to a chunk, or it needs to be.
No, it's not doing any protocol. It's just writing as it is. The problem with that, and you're saying it's a very good question, because the problem with the browser, it has absolutely no idea about when the response is over. And that's why you have to wrap it into some protocol, so that that protocol will tell the browser that thing. And that's why we will be doing that very shortly. Okay? But basically now it's just writing chunks just after the headers. That's all what it does. So how can we slow down this stuff? We need an adapter.
We love adapters, right? So
schedule, it will be an Iteratee.map M. M is the secret here. So basically here it's like a map, but with each chunk I got the opportunity to return a future. And returning a future, it means I can delay, right? And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm getting a tweet here, and all I'm doing to do is find somewhere very deep in play.
Promise time.
So basically I'm saying, like, you just wait for a second before sending the tweet.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. So I'm going to say it's a map of tweet. And let's apply that adapter to it.
We are passing through again, right? Yep, another adapter.
No internet. Nice.
Better, yeah.
How nice is that? I love adapters. How cool is that?
All right, let's put some images there.
Doesn't matter. We got the result. Okay. So, but really, what's interesting here is that we're learning more about our problem, and we're trying to solve these problems with the tool that we got. So the framework should not be abstracting away anything for you. It's not abstracting the web or abstracting anything. It should help you get off these complicated tasks so that you can focus on what you really want to do. So basically, to get back to the thing, here what we are doing actually is we are basically streaming the chunks as they happen, writing into the socket. That's not a very good thing if you want the browser to understand it. So we got this in HTTP specification. You got something called chunked HTTP, which is actually exactly what we're doing. Instead, it will wrap each chunk into some protocol that the browser will understand. And there is another protocol that is event source, that also some kind of protocol that will just put a new line after the chunk and just data colon your data. So basically, it's a very simple a protocol that will make the browser understand what's happening. So we're going to use it here so that we get some protocol that our browser can understand. So all what I'm doing here is to say I'm pushing this into another adapter, which is event source.
Which is abstraction for server-sent events, right?
It's the name of server-sent event. Yes.
And where is that defined in the framework?
It's It's inside library, API lib and Comet and event source. So it's inside lib. So now we see the protocol, right? We see data, colon, and there is a new line for each chunk, right? So no magic in here. The moment, we were releasing Play 2.0 and by January or something like that, and then there were this server sent event was really hot, and everyone to showing examples, games, and so on using this protocol. And we looked at it like, this is just HTTP. Just you need to adapt every chunk. So I wrote this enumeratee, the adapter that I just showed you, the event source adapter, and it took like 3 lines, and that's it. We got the protocol. No magic. That's inside there. So just it's basic HTTP. We should be able to do it very easily. Okay. So that's actually I'm cheating a bit because I have also to say put in the headers to tell the browser that it's event source. So all I have to say is as, and I forgot what was the thing. Is I guess text event source, or I'm going to cheat for that. Okay, that's it. All right. So now we get the right headers. If we go and refresh and go to the headers, we see that it's the right one. Okay, I guess I don't have much time left, right? Yeah. So basically, you can. It's very easy. You can say new event source of this URL, and then you'll get events in JavaScript each time you get a chunk, right? That's very, very simple. Now, what I'm going to do actually is cheat a bit and get some presentation code so that we get to the end of this thing. So to run this guy. So basically, what's left is so the client side code will be looking like. Let me show you. Scala days. It's inside app. Sorry. Yeah. No.
Views.
Public. Oh. JavaScript. And main.js. So basically, it's only it's making a new event source of that route that I just did. It will be subscribing on each message, and on each message, it will be adding an image tag to the page, to the image list, and that's pretty it. Okay, there's no magic in there. Just we get in this URL into the event source object, and then we start handling the events and pushing elements into the DOM. All right. Yeah. Let's see it working. No, that's not the right one. Yeah, I couldn't start the other one because I didn't kill the first one.
The other one, yeah.
Where did the router come from in your JavaScript?
You can actually import routers. You can see okay, I can show you inside. I guess yeah, it should be here. Inside index. Sorry, views. Index or main, I don't remember. Maybe inside main. Yeah, there you go. So you can, Play has some helpers that can help you get the routes into your JavaScript files.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and, that's not good. Why didn't find it?
What?
Scary.
Oh, the
okay.
endpoint. Let's change the endpoint. We got the URL incorrect.
I guess it's right. It should be right.
Well, somebody tweet something with pictures.
There we go.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you again. I could do it.
That's awesome.